If you're running Google Ads and your ads have their headlines and descriptions, but you're not using all of the relevant assets that you can be using, then you're far less likely going to stand out from any of your competitors inside Google Ads. And in today's video, we're going to show you what assets are, the different types of assets you should be using for the type of campaign that you're running, and how to optimize your assets as well so that you're focusing on the assets that are performing best in your case. And just to touch on what assets actually are, they're pieces of content that make up your ad with more useful business information, just giving more people more reason to use your business. And what they really are extensions of your ad, because assets used to be called extensions. And these extensions are literally extensions of your ad because they make your ad look bigger and they make your ad more likely to be clicked on as a result because your ad takes up more space on the page. And just to give you a visual example, just so you see what assets really are and how they help boost your click through rate to make your ad stand out more from your competition, is as you can see here, is that these assets which are added to the ad are just extensions of your original headlines and descriptions. So you can see the residential landscaping nearby is a headline, and then our license and insured experts guide underneath. These are just your headlines and descriptions, whereas the other parts with the blue boxes around them are assets or extensions of your ad. And as you can see here, they make the ad look bigger and give the customer on the other end more reason to click on the ads. And we're going to go through each of the types of extensions that are being used here and any other extensions that I recommend using inside this video to make your ad look as big as possible, like this one, if not bigger. And whenever your ad appears when somebody searches for what you offer on Google, that you're giving yourself as much opportunity as possible to get the click versus just having a really small hidden ad with just your headlines and descriptions. Now, when you're inside your Google Ads campaign and you want to add assets or extensions to your campaign, you want to go to your campaign first of all and then choose assets and just press assets again. And this is going to bring you here where you can add all of the relevant assets to your campaign. And before we go through each of these individually as well, the best general rule of thumb for assets is to simply add as many that are relevant to what you offer as possible, because Google decides which of your assets to show at any given time. So you can add as many specific assets as you like, but Google are going to show whichever assets they think is going to perform best depending on how well it lines up with your ad copy. So you'll notice over time as well that some of your assets are getting a lot more views and clicks than others, and that some of your assets might rarely get shown at all. And unfortunately, we can't decide ourselves, which of our assets are shown at any given moment because Google wants to have a lot more control over how our ads are shown. So all we can do is add as many relevant assets as possible and look at the data then on which assets are performing best over time. And we're going to show you now each of the types of assets that you want to add one by one. And as you can see here, these are all the different types of assets you're able to add. And we're going to talk about service-based businesses specifically for generating leads, as there's quite a lot of different extensions here, but not all of these are going to be relevant for lead generation. And some of these might be more relevant for e-commerce where you're selling products, for example, but that's not what we're going to go into inside this video. Now, image assets work really well for all campaign types and, are really useful for showing what you offer just to give the person on the other end an idea of, what your service entails. And if you're offering services like this, for example, you can see here an image asset for roof cleaning and you can see, a visual before and after, as well as things like, gutter cleaning or whatever else you offer. You're able to add in image assets that are relevant to the service. And what you can do is press the blue plus icon. And if you want to add image assets to your campaign, you can press images. And you can either upload these from your own gallery of images that you have of your own business, or else you can use free stock photos as well that's specific to the service. So, for example, if you offer roof repair, for example, you'll get a bunch of free stock photos that you can use. But when it comes to image assets, we've found what works really well, especially if you're a trades business, for example, is having photos of the company vans or more personal photos that clearly indicate that these photos are from your business specifically. Because stock photos are fine for getting the point across, but photos from your actual business are a lot more personal and appear a lot more trustworthy as well, and generally have really good conversion rates. And as you can see here, this photo of some company vans having 42 conversions at a conversion rate of 17%. And you'll notice as well that with our assets, this is another photo of a company van, but only got 37 impressions in total versus this photo having over 2,500 impressions. So Google just simply decides which assets they're going to show at any given time. And with regards to image extensions as well, if you have photos not just of your company trucks, but if you have photos of the team or anything that's more personal, even if you have a photo of yourself wearing a company top with the company logo on it, then those types of images, are really good for getting high click-through rates like this, around 10%, and also good conversion rates as well. The next two then are your business name and business logo. And as you can see here as well, with conversion rates of about 13-14% in each, we've noticed that having these in place as well does help the ad look a lot more professional and trustworthy right from the very beginning. And if you want to make sure as well that you're able to add these extensions, you just need to make sure that you have your advertiser verification complete. So if you haven't done that already, you're just going to get a notification at some point to complete it. But if you haven't been asked to do it yet, you're able to complete that at whatever time you like. And then you're going to have the option to add your business name and business logo as well. And with any of the extensions that we're adding inside Google Ads, once you're inside the type of extension that you want to add, it really is as simple as just pressing the blue plus icon. And what you want to do as well with your extensions is add them to the campaign level. A mistake that you don't want to do is add it to the ad group level. Account level is fine as well, but you don't want to add it at the ad group level because then it might show for one ad group, but then not show for all your other ad groups. And if you have about 10 different ad groups inside your campaign, you don't want to have to keep adding all your extensions manually for every separate ad group. So that's just something to be aware of as well. And a point worth mentioning about your business logo as well, you'll be able to upload that if you have an image of it saved on your laptop or computer. But what you need to make sure of with your logo is that you have it sized correctly so that it can fit into a square size image and that it's the right size image as well. And if you need to play around with the logo to make sure it fits inside their required dimensions, there are free tools online like image resizers and things like that will help your logo fit Google's requirements for that. The next one then that's really useful for lead generation inside Google Ads is Sitelinks. Let's just say you're offering a really specific service, for example, plumbing, and you might have different landing pages for each aspect of plumbing. For example, boiler repair, toilet repair, and pipe repair, for example. Then what you can do is have separate site links for each of those landing pages so that if somebody is searching for one of those specific services, that they can click on that relevant site link and be brought to a page that matches exactly what they're searching for. And with your site links as well, you can have about 4 of these show up at any given time. And what you can do as well is add in the site link text for what they get on the final URL that they click to, just to make sure that, if they are clicking on this site link text, that they are being brought to a final URL that's relevant to what they clicked on. And you can add 2 descriptions as well of benefits of that specific service. Now, headline and description assets we don't add because our ad copy itself covers our headlines and descriptions, so we don't need to worry about those. But callouts then are a really useful one that we like to add to almost any lead generation campaign that we're running. And what callouts are literally just benefits of why they would choose you. So anything that you can think of for the service that you offer, and you can see a bunch of examples here that could be applied to almost any service. For example, affordable, transparent pricing, family owned and operated, quick and reliable, courteous, obligation-free quotes, and so on. These are all examples of callouts that you can add to your campaign. And what we'll get onto as well is actually optimizing these to make sure that you're running callouts that actually give you good conversion rates and cost per conversions, as you can see here with these callouts. But firstly, if you're looking to add these to your campaign, you want to press the blue plus icon again, and you can add as many of these as you like. You can add 15 to 20 of these call out extensions if you like, and just simply add in as many benefits that you can think of why they would choose you. But the more unique, the better as well, because you don't always want to be using the same callouts that everybody else is using. The next type of extension or asset worth adding to your Google Ads campaign then is structured snippets. What we've noticed across a lot of different service-based businesses is that structured snippets don't seem to be shown as often as callouts or any of the other types of extensions. But if it is the case for you that structured snippets could end up being shown a lot more, then they are worth adding, because they're basically ways for you to group or categorize different aspects of what you offer. For example, neighborhoods, you could list all the different areas that you serve. For amenities, it's also another opportunity to just list off benefits like you have with callouts. And for service catalog as well, then if you offer a bunch of different services, you're able to list all those off as well. And just to show you an example of adding a structured snippet, again, you want to make sure that it's added at the campaign level. And then you just want to pick the header type. Let's just say you wanted to add the services that you offer. You can list, for example, roof repair, chimney repair, and gutter repair, and so on for whatever services that you offer. And that way, then, as you can see here, you have a structured snippet that just lists off everything that you offer. And if somebody's looking for one of these services, then it's just another way of increasing the likelihood that they click on your ad. And the last one, then, as well, you want to make sure that you have added, if you're running responsive search ads, is your call extension. And to add your call extension, it's the exact same process where you just add your phone number to the ad itself. So the link to your landing page is still going to be the main URL. But if somebody wants to call you directly, they can see your phone number then directly below the ad, and they can simply just press this phone number to call you directly. And getting phone calls through your phone call extension is one of the simplest ways to get extra leads for your campaign. So if you're a service-based business that's also looking to get phone calls as well as form submissions, then your call extension is also 100% worth adding to your campaign. And it's also important to remember as well to make sure that you select the correct conversion action and have your conversion tracking set up for when somebody calls you from this call extension. And I'll leave a link for that video right above as well if you want to check that out. But once you have that set up, then as well, you just want to press save just to make sure it's set up. Apart from that, then you also have your lead form extension, which we've never used because we found that it's a lot better to generate lead form submissions through your landing page rather than directly from the ad itself. So we don't use lead form extensions. We also don't use location extensions because if you're a service-based business, the chances are you don't have a physical location where you sell products or anything like that. If you're a service-based business, your location obviously varies depending on, where you're providing the service that you offer. So there's no need to have a location extension for service-based businesses. And same with these last three extensions here as well. So price. So price is more relevant where you have physical products that never vary on price. But when you're providing a quote for a service, your quotes can vary quite a lot depending on the service that you're offering. And app isn't relevant unless you're looking to run a campaign for apps, and promotions is also more relevant to physical products as well. So the other extensions that we mentioned in this video, for example, image, business name, business logo, site links, callouts, structured snippets, and call extensions are all of the extensions that I'd recommend running as a service-based business inside Google Ads. And when it comes to actually optimizing your extensions then as well, it really is as simple as gathering a lot of data on each first of all, because there's no point in pausing extensions that only have a few clicks because you don't have enough data to know whether or not that extension is actually performing well. But as you can see here for these extensions, each of which have a significant amount of clicks, for example, anywhere from even, 30 clicks up as far as 170 clicks in this case. What we like to check first of all is click-through rate, because click-through rate is a good indication that these benefits actually resonate with the person that sees the ad. And these click-through rates, we generally would recommend having a click-through rate of your callouts of at least 2% or more. And we've seen that ideally we would like the click-through rate of these callout extensions to be a bit higher. But when we're measuring the results of anything in Google Ads, not just your extensions, we look at our conversion metrics, for example, cost per conversion and conversion rate, and deem these as a much more important metric of overall success than just your click-through rate. Because, for example, if we had the highest click-through rate in the world, let's say we had a click-through rate of 25%, but our conversion rate was 0%, then that isn't really any good to us because clicks on their own don't mean anything. So when it comes to optimizing anything inside Google Ads, we always look at cost per conversion and conversion rate as the most important metrics overall. And when it comes to optimizing these extensions, you don't want to make changes or pause any assets that don't have any significant data yet. But if you see that you have an extension, for example, a call out that has 30 to 50 or even more clicks but very little conversions to show for it, then that's when you can start pausing assets that aren't performing. And you can do this then for all of the assets that you're running. So you can look through your image extensions, your business name, your site links, your callouts, absolutely everything inside your extensions, and look at the cost per conversion and conversion rate of every extension that you have, and only pause assets that have a lot of clicks but aren't getting any conversions to show for it. Now, I hope this video gave you clarity on how to use assets effectively inside Google Ads to improve your click-through rate, but most importantly, help you stand out from your competitors and gather a lot more conversions for your Google Ads campaign. Now, if you do have any questions at all about assets or any other aspects of Google Ads, feel free to leave a comment down below. And if you are a service-based company looking for further help with your Google Ads campaign, feel free to have a look at the link in the description down below. And if you do like this Google Ads related content as well, feel free to leave a like and subscribe to the channel, as we'll be posting all things related to Google Ads here daily. And hopefully we'll see you in the next video.